Hello, my name is Marcus William Morris, and I am now ready to discuss my newly edited and republished book, Lack and the Art of Deprogramming. A brief look at the universe and our mental state from inside the human mind. So, I would like to skip the introduction and start with the first chapter. And I start with cosmology and creation. So here's the first paragraph. Some people believe that the universe was created by some kind of extremely fantastic explosion of one isolated singularity in the middle of a formless void, a formless empty void. The event is something quite unimaginable. Quantum science clearly states that nothing is genuinely empty. So what do you guys think about the Big Bang, which seems to be kind of somewhat disproven these days by the James Webb telescope, which is finding galaxies and certain distances of over 13 billion light years that should not be there in fully developed form. So, if the Big Bang didn't create the universe, if it didn't, then what did? Does anybody know? Because I certainly do not. If it was even created in the first place, maybe it had always been here. So other people believe in a more biblical version of creation, where God uses his words and his voice to create the heavens and the earth and the book of Genesis. The three major religions such as Judaism, Christianity, and Islam share this common belief. What it comes down to is that God creates the universe pretty much with his voice. So in Genesis, God creates the heavens and the earth in 7 days through the use of his words and the power of suggestion he instills upon universal matter. He speaks into a formless void, and out springs the earth and heavens. The earth was a water world steeped in darkness. Then God spoke the words, "Let there be light," and there was light. Then God had to do something about all the water present, so he created a vast space in between the waters. There existed a water canopy in the Earth's atmosphere in those days. So what I'd like to go further into is there was day and night before God created the sun and the moon. How did that happen? There is also more than one person present when God created the heavens and the earth. From then on, God creates everything else, and God says us explicitly without specifying who were the others present during this creation event. And he creates man in his likeness and image as male and female. The first male named Adam is created from the dust or clay of the earth. Okay, so any questions here? Another thing I get into, why did God want man to have the knowledge? Why didn't God want man to have knowledge of good and evil when he ate from the apple of the tree of good and evil? So before they ate of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, it seems like man or woman had no idea that they were naked. So they seem to have been in a stupor or low level awareness. I had no idea they were clothless. And I think there is a difference between someone who knows that they are naked and does not care, and someone naked and has no awareness that they are. Similar to the state of a mind of an animal. From what I observed through the text, humans in this state would have made the perfect slave due to their lack of awareness and lack of knowledge of good and evil. Due to this lack of knowledge, Adam and Eve had no way to develop a moral understanding of deeds and behavior. So, anyone with superior knowledge would have easily been able to manipulate Adam and Eve without ever having to delve into reasoning, because they didn't know what reasoning was. Alrighty. In another instance, the Lord God said, man has become like one of us. Once again, us is used in the Bible, and the Bible gives no mention as to who the others are. God continues, man can now tell the difference between good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and pick from the tree of life and eat it. If he does, he will live forever. Genesis 3:21. After that, God drove man out of the garden to work the land he was made of, much like a slave. What do you guys think of that? In my personal opinion, from what is being presented here to us in text, it seems that God did not want man or woman to have knowledge of good and evil, and also did not want them to become enlightened and live forever in attaining this state. God seems to be very controlling. He condemns man to return to the dirt from which he came. Why is all this happening? Why? So, did God not want man or woman to have the knowledge of good and evil so that he or she has no discernment between what is right and wrong? Therefore, they would never know. They're not being treated properly. Therefore, they can become the perfect slave, remain in a stupor, work their entire lives, and therefore will never question anything. What do you think? So, when God seems to create, the world and form its void and all this sun and stars, and through his voice, let's take a look at what that might be. So now let's take an even closer look at the beginning of Genesis and possibly draw some substance out of it with the clause of cymatics. The study of vibration and wave phenomenon. According to Genesis, we are left to conclude, given no further explanation about the creation process besides God speaking things into existence, that this process must be cymatics, hence sound, vibration, and wave phenomenon. Every object has a frequency, meaning a rate at which it vibrates. This includes living and non-living things. If the frequency changes, the form of life or non-living material also changes. So people also discuss this kind of thing when it comes to manifesting. You must be on something's frequency. So your frequency that you're, thinking, and when you're thinking, your thoughts are creating a waveform phenomenon or causing what's in your imagination to manifest into solid form. This is what God is doing through his voice. It's a very intricate, subtle science. Another book that is pretty expressive with this sort of phenomenon is the Chronicles of Narnia, where the lion of Narnia sings, and out of his beautiful voice creates a world and all of its creatures in it, and out they spring from the ground in full form. Another interesting parallel is that this world was created to be free of evil, but somehow evil found its way in. So is cymatics new science or old science? I bet it's very old science and it's probably mostly suppressed. Let me know what your thoughts are about this. Remember to subscribe and remember to follow me, and I will be starting the next chapter very, very soon. And I'm excited to be on this journey with you. Ask questions in the comment section and I will love to get to most of them as I go on with the next few videos. See you soon. Bye-bye.